A decades-old capital murder conviction could be unraveling, and the twist, the current district attorney agrees. The man at the center of it says he never got a fair trial, and now the very prosecutors and defense attorneys who handled his case are under scrutiny.
In an unprecedented move, the DA says the system failed and wants the conviction tossed. This morning, senior investigative reporter Tanya Eiserer takes you inside a high-stakes courtroom showdown in Cooke County, where justice itself is on trial.
At the Cooke County Courthouse, there's a battle.
When a prosecutor hides evidence, that dirties every other prosecutor.
The current district attorney says the former DA broke the law.
You won't turn a blind eye to injustice.
She's now Cooke County's only elected felony court judge.
This calls into question the integrity of maybe 30 years of convictions in Cooke County.
There's an agenda here with this DA.
How has this affected the criminal justice system in Cooke County?
I think it's destroyed it.
The idea that this guy's been in prison for 28 years because he's innocent is a joke.
Senior investigative reporter Tanya Eiserer is here with us this morning. And Tanya, such a fascinating story. How unusual is a case like this?
Well, I don't think unusual even begins to cover this case. To have the current sitting district attorney say that the former DA, who is the county's only elected felony judge, has committed misconduct, he agrees that evidence was withheld, that's simply extraordinary. And the defense attorney is now an elected misdemeanor court judge. So it is, I don't think I've ever seen something quite like this.
Is it possible to compare how this would be different today if it was handled now versus back in the 90s?
Well, there are huge differences. Back in 2013, they passed what's called the Michael Morton Act. He was a man who was sent to prison wrongfully for decades for killing his wife. Allegedly killing his wife, and of course DNA evidence proved he didn't. So they passed a law that said that all evidence now has to be given to the defense. But back in the 90s, that did not exist. Another big change is just the way that police interrogations are done. In this case, you have the police detective not turning the recorder on and then turning the recorder off and then turning it back on. Today, when police do interrogations, they typically put them in an interview room, and that recorder's going the whole time. And of course, you have body cams and dash cams, so a lot of things have changed.
Now, if you have not seen this story, if you missed it last night, you should absolutely watch it. You know, I really enjoyed it. I know I had so many questions for you after I watched it, so I want to ask now, what is something you want people to take away from this?
I think at its most basic level, it really speaks to protecting your rights. When you speak to the police, that anything you say can and will be used against you, that really is true. So when they read those rights to you, if you think you need an attorney, and you probably do, you need to ask for one.
All right, wow. I had no idea that so much had changed in such a short amount of time either when it comes to prosecuting something in the 90s.
Just huge changes. I don't think people realize that.
All right, thanks, Tanya. Good to see you.